What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? I love doing these guides. It's been a little bit. I say that, and then, you know, it really hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long. We're doing top 5 hunter gods to play in the hunter role currently as of the beginning of December, and their builds. I'm starting with hunters on purpose. It seems like this is the most confused role in terms of like people coming in and trying to play and not really being sure what to build. And I will say it's warranted. The builds change super quickly, almost for no reason. It's like the slightest tweak to some item will change a whole hunter build. And I just want to kind of clarify that, go through the top 5 hunters, talk about some, you know, some honorable mentions, and go over the builds of the top 5 hunters. So we'll get into it, we'll talk about it, and we'll see what we got. All right, so I think I'm gonna work my way from 5 to 1, and then we'll talk about the honorable mentions. Makes sense that way to me. So number 5 on our list is Ishtar. Now I want you to realize this is gonna be playing the gods correctly. So if you're not mechanically skilled enough yet, or haven't put enough time in on a god yet, maybe go take it to casuals and practice it a little bit before playing it, because some of these gods play very differently than the others. Like they're obviously all hunters, but there's a lot of weirdness in their kits that you really have to learn. Timings, the dashes are different. Ishtar specifically. So Ishtar is number 5 on our list. Crit has been back in this meta for months and months and months, like 6, 7, 8 months. I had someone yesterday like, oh, crit's good again. It's been good. When they buffed spectral armor, everyone thought it was dead. The spectral armor doesn't do anything. You still crit harder than a regular auto attack would hit for, because of the other stats in the items. And when they buffed Demon Blade, it was over. It was pretty much over. So the big thing with Ishtar and why she's good, her clear is pretty much the top clear next to Izanami. So she's gonna have lane dominance and lane control all the time. You're gonna out clear in the jungle on your way to lane. So you get the lane first, you'll get level 2 first. It's just a full control hunter, which is very valuable. You do that by swapping your 1 into the circle autos and just AoE autoing everything down. Then in the mid to late game, using your 1 and swapping into the 2 will basically insta kill anyone right in front of you or help you burn objectives. Swapping into the 1 and then the 3, which is the long range autos, will basically allow you to poke out anybody sitting under a tower, anyone sitting on an objective at a distance they will not be able to return damage to you at, which is really valuable. Your 2 is cool for just poke and mini CCs. Your 3 is your big dash, which is very valuable. And then you have a team fight ult, which is what a lot of hunters lack. So that is a, you know, bonus on top of everything else, having a good laning phase and having the builds and everything else. So build wise, right now, the standard starter for pretty much everybody, except for 1 or 2 gods, is Leather Cowl into Leader's Cowl. Leader's Cowl, just always pay attention to the auras on these items. They're very valuable. So you read the passive on Leather Cowl, it's actually being hidden on your screen right now, which sucks. But it's while you're within 55 units of an allied god, you gain 10% attack speed. If you're alone, you gain movement speed. So you rotate faster, you run out of base faster. If you're running away from a fight or chasing, you are faster. And then whenever you're in lane with your support, which is pretty much all the time anyway, you then have that attack speed. So this item is giving you 20% attack speed, essentially a lane, 15 power, MP5, and lifesteal. It's a very valuable item. The only downside to Leather Cowl is there's no mana sustains. You have to be aware of your mana. You can't just spam your abilities. And honestly, grabbing a mana pot or 2 can end up being big value for you. Then you build in that Leather Cowl. The Leather Cowl is similar for the auras and the stats, except for gives you HP, instead of MP5. But the aura is you get 5, you provide. So you're buffing your team. This is extra value, you know, the better the team you have is. You provide 5% increased power to all nearby allied gods. So aura gains a bonus stack for each allied god within 55 units. So if you are grouped, you are giving 25. I think it's giving 25 or it's giving 20. I don't know if you count as a stack. No, you do count as a stack. So you're giving 25% increased power. It's basically a red buff for everybody on top of your, you know, your mage already having a red buff, which is crazy. And then I always forget that this item has a downscaled aura, which is always weird because usually auras are not weaker. So it's actually 3% for the other gods. It's a really weird stat, actually. I don't know. Hi-Res does some weird stuff. So it's a little bit lower on the power end. It's still very good for your team. So it gives you lifesteal, attack speed, and power. It's just a really good item. 50 power is a lot of power as well. So that's your starter. I don't know why I didn't click on it. That's my bad. So Leather Cowl, boom. Then we're going in to the almighty Devo gloves. These are standard in every single build at this point. Upgraded Devo gloves are 50 power, 15 flat pen, and 15% lifesteal. Those stats are almost unmatched by any other item. The only downside, it doesn't have a passive. That's where this item kind of balances itself and fits in with everything else. So as soon as you finish the stacks on this item, you hit insanely hard. 15 flat pen for an auto attack hunter is crazy. Being able to sustain the whole time, pretty much full heal anytime you get poked, is insane. And then 50 power, massive. Then we go to our next item. Our next item on Ishtar is going towards pen. Xe has made its way back heavily into the builds in the hunters. If you look at all the SPL games, it's built 99% of the time. So we're going into Xe. It's going to allow us to kill that front line, that support. I think the biggest shift to this item in my, like, from what I've seen, I've played a ton of ADC over the past 2 months. You're able to kill the support that is babysitting your lane. Right now, supports stay in the lane until, honestly, sometimes they're there till like level 10, 11, which is crazy. Like, that's wild. Because they're only really rotating to the beacon at 12 minutes and then coming back to lane. And that's just how it plays out. This allows you to deal with that support. Then we want to get crit online, so we're going into Demon Blade. Demon Blade is nuts. You're getting power, attack speed, crit. Then whenever your passive procs, which it procs when you hit a crit, it's giving you 10% pen and then 10% more attack speed. So the item has 30 power, 25% attack speed, 20% crit, and then 10% pen. It is a crazy item. The item is nuts. So at this point, you've got flat pen, percent pen, more percent pen. Also lifesteal and attack speed. We've got lifesteal, we've got power, we've got power, we've got power, we've got attack speed, we've got pen, we have crit, everything you need. Then comes your next item. These two items are interchangeable. If you're winning your lane and tanks aren't a problem, which is super common right now because mages solo are more meta, Deathbringer is what you're going to go here, and then you're going to go into the dominance to round out your attack speed and your pen. If the tanks are a problem when you finish your Demon Blade, you can go right into dominance here, so you get more even pen. You have crazy pen shred at that point, and you can just deal with the tanks like they're nothing. But getting the Deathbringer online is big. Then upgrading Deathbringer, I would upgrade Deathbringer over Executioner, personal opinion. Upgrading Xe just doesn't, you don't feel it at all. Upgrading Deathbringer, you can go the anti-heal. So if they have healing in their comp, that's going to be a must grab. And if they do not have anti-heal, getting the upgraded Deathbringer that gives you cooldown. So this Deathbringer right here, malicious. Every time you auto and crit, you get 1 second off your cooldowns. On Ishtar, when you use your 1 and use the spread auto, I think it's called the shotgun whatever auto, that's the 1 and then 2, so it's a AoE cone. Every tick of that crits is a proc on this. So you can essentially 1, 3 auto twice, and then your 3 is back up. It is ridiculous. It's insane. I don't know why it works out like that, but it does. So here's the full build for Ishtar. I know it took a little bit. I just wanted to talk through the items with Ishtar before we go into the rest. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Xbalanque. The difference in Xbalanque, well, Xbalanque in general, hitting really hard right now because his passive gives him a ton of power. His ult gives him a ton of attack speed and range, so you're able to fight. His ult is also one of the best team fight ults in the game out of hunters, because you can use it in anytime you see your jungler diving in, the second you see him blink or leap, pop it. You'll win way more fights, and you'll be a part of winning those fights, and you'll be a reason you do end up winning the game just by pressing an easy button that also buffs you and makes team fights easier. Your lane phase is really good because you have solid clear and poke because of branching. You then have your 2 for anytime you want to contest or you need a range clear, and your 3 is a really safe ability because once you leave the air, once you jump into the air with it, so there's like a semi movement, like a sidestep and then a dash. Once you dash into the air, you're CC immune, which is massive for a lot of these rotations. You know, your slows, your stuns, you can immune them as long as you're reacting fast enough. So that is why Xbalanque is on here. His power is just the key to him. Now, the difference with Xbalanque is you're going to go into Death's Toll as a starter because you need sustain. Now, depending if you want to go an AA build or a crit build, it's your choice. I prefer and recommend in ranked, you go crit. If you go into the crit build, you go Death's Temper. If you go to a full AA build, which is where instead of the 2 crit items, you would go Kins and Oboe. You would go Death's Embrace because you would be slightly overcapping attack speed, or you'd be overcapping attack speed in a bad way if you went Death's Temper. But we're gonna go Death's Temper in this build. We're gonna go Devos. because we're going Devos and not Transcendence, this is going to be your big mana sustain, that Death's Toll. And then the build kind of just evolves the same way as it would. XC to kill the tanks, Demon Blade to shred and get that crit online. If you're having a solid game, Deathbringer into whichever one of these Deathbringers you need, and then Dominance. Very, very straightforward. And like I said, if you don't, like, say it's all a tanky game, for some reason you're just not feeling crit that day, you would swap the Demon Blade and the Deathbringer, and you would go Oboe here. Oboe's proc is a ton of damage. You would go into the Kins here. Actually, you would probably swap these two as well, just order wise. I'll go Dominance first and then Kins. And then this would change into the Death's Embrace, which gives you cooldown every time you land an auto. So it's a nice little addition to the build. There you go. Full build for you for Xball. So that's number 4 on our list. Number 3 on our list. I don't think these gods should be really surprising to you. Maybe they are. Maybe, I don't know. It's Hachi. And the big thing with Hachi is he peaked onto he carried the meta at one point when they buffed the 1. They buffed his 2, they gave his passive attack speed, and they buffed his 1 at the same time. The 1 change plus the attack speed change brought him to the top of the meta. They nerfed the 1 down a little bit. Now the big thing with this is your basic attacks are buffed essentially. So they're not hitting for, they're getting bonus damage, which is 50, and then plus 115% of your basic attack damage. So you're getting 50 extra damage, right? But then your autos have a higher base. They're 115% at a higher base. So that's a big deal with hunters, because your hunter passive, which I don't know if they have class passives anywhere, like in game. Your hunter passive is that as you level up, you go past the 100% AA damage, so your auto attacks are doing more than just 100% of your basic attack damage, and I believe they go up to 110 right now. I know at one point it was supposed to be 120, and I think it was too much, but I could be wrong. It's somewhere between 110 and 120. I think if you look at the wiki, you can look it up, but either way, these are stacking. So that passive, you're getting bonus, you're getting higher damage, and then you're getting 115 with these. So your autos are consistently hitting very, very, very hard. You're getting the passive attack speed. You have good clear and good poke out of your Heavenly Banner. You have this ability I love. Yes, you use it to run away. You have a dash, cool. But the turn potential and your fight potential is spiked because of this ability. So this ability, when you dash through on somebody, when you dash through correctly and the blade does a full swing on them after you dash through, it stuns them. That stun is a huge turn, because with the attack speed and damage you have, most of the time you're getting off another 2 or 3 autos in that stun. That turn and like swap in the 1v1 is crazy. Then you have an ultimate, which is one of the safest ultimates for hunters in the game. CC immunity for a long time. You get a slow out of it, you get a big burst of damage, so you can use it to run, use it to chase, use it to engage fights, use it to clean up, whatever you want. Dope. You guys know how that works. Build for Hachi is like the standard build. Leader Scowl. All right, we're going into Devos, boom, boom, boom. Then we're going into our Xe. Like I said, the build is becoming pretty standard at this point. Then we're going into our Demon Blade, which is right here. Then if we're having a good game, Deathbringer, and then Dominance. And at that point, you kind of getting, this is like the go-to build. It doesn't really change a lot with anybody. So Hachi's number 3 on our list. Number 2 on our list is Honor. This is probably the most mechanical god out of all the hunters that are being played outside of Ul. And Ul is going to be one of our honorable mentions, just so you know, so you're not freaking out. And why is, it's just Honor. It's super easy to play. It's not. Most people that play Honor can't 1-2 combo. A 1-2 combo is where you throw the pillar up right behind your target. It will slow them so they can't get out of the path, and then you 2 them into the pillar, and then you're able to auto them down. If they run, you can jump on them, you can ultimate, whatever, depends on how they play it, and you should win every 1v1 and just pretty much get an insta kill every time you can land that combo. Most people cannot do that, and that's fine if you can't do that. It's just something to work on. That's a higher level mechanic, and why I say he's more mechanical. Plus his ultimate, if you hit every tick of his ultimate, you do a lot of damage. It's very low scaling, dope, but it's 8 spears. So I don't know if you ever noticed this. This is a lot of damage. Like a lot of damage. It's like 104, whatever, sorry, like it's like 1400 damage on that, 1300 damage before scaling. Say scaling, you have like 200 power. So it's not a lot, but you're getting, it ends up being a lot. It ends up being like 200 a spear plus very easily. So talking about 1600 potential damage. Then your passive is what most other people don't know. Your attacks reduce the target's physical protection for 3 seconds. It's 20 prots You take away 20 of their defense flat. This is a ridiculous passive and allows you to do traded damage. Plus, if you land your autos and then you ult, even more damage. You land an auto and then you 2, even more damage, not being mitigated. This god is crazy. The build for him is the same. Now, I will say one thing. Just pull out the standard build, Leader's Cowl, go into Devos. Once you have these items online, you hit so hard because you have 35 flat pen, which is unheard of. Like, once you finish the stacks on the lifesteal, it's crazy. Then we're going to Xe to pair with that passive even better, right? Standard build. Then I want to grab crit, because crit's OP. Then I want to grab more crit, because crit's OP. Then I want to grab dominance, because I want more pen and attack speed, right? So here's the standard build, and this is what you'll see a lot in ranked, and it works really well, right? I go a different build, and I like it a lot. It is definitely preference, but I haven't really found any matchups that I lose. So I will throw this build out there. This is not like the SPL build, simply my build. Death Temper why? Because as you stack up, you get 35% basic attack damage. You already get the attack speed, which you need that attack speed late game, because the build does lack some attack speed. We're gonna go Demon Blade in this spot, if I can find it. We are gonna go Fail Not in this spot, which is where the build gets weird. And we're gonna go the Dominance here because we need pen and we need more attack speed. And then we're gonna go Deathbringer last. The second you finish this Deathbringer, you're critting anybody who doesn't have defense, like a ton of defense. You're critting them for well over 1,000. If you have full build, you finish a fire, you have 3k pot, red pot, you can crit upwards of 15, 16, 1700 with one auto, which is ridiculous. I love this build. It plays similar to like almost like an assassin in a lot of ways. Like, you know, I can kill the front line with a bunch of autos, but if I jump on a mage or an assassin jumps on me and I turn on him, I can 2-shot him. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not saying this is like the must build, but I also build this on Chernobog 2. Something for you to try if the other build just doesn't work for you. I love having Death Toll 2 for sustain. I spam a lot, I fight a lot, I jump in, I just throw my abilities out, try to fight too much. So having extra sustain is really big to me for the mana. I love it. Absolutely love it. So Honor's number 2 on our list. And then number 1. It's Chernobog. This shouldn't even be a doubt in your mind. He was at the peak tippy top where only Honor is contesting him because Honor can beat him in 1v1. But can't out-rotate him. They nerfed him because it was super overtuned. They nerfed him, and it seemed like for a couple days, people were like, oh, yeah, we can't, we're not going to play him anymore. No. He's still busted. His ultimate is what makes him busted. He can split push in the late game and then be at every single team fight, right? He honestly turns every single team fight because his ultimate is ridiculous, okay? Just, everybody has a wall of text there. I don't know how Hi-Rez does this to us. During a brief channeling period, so you go up in there, where you buy yourself time. Chernobog summons a shadow at the location of all the enemies, lasts for 8 seconds, and applies a short stacking slow. So you're getting, it's like 9% once it's stacked. It feels like way more because it's just range autoing you, right? So they're slowed for 9% for 8 seconds. That's a long time. It's a very long time, right? Then you pick a target. So you're able to rotate anywhere on the map you want. You can clean up kills. If you need to get out, you can jump to the solo lane. When you land, all your abilities are refreshed. They're all up, which is the big thing. If you right click and cancel, they're not up. If you land on into a shadow, they're all up, right? Then the big thing is you obtain mitigations and movement. So when you land, you're 20%, taking 20% less damage. Huge, right? Dope. And you're 20% faster, okay? This ultimate is just crazy to think about that you could split push. You could see someone come to you and you can be like, all right, let's fight. Let's 5v4. And you get, you know, you set it up with the slow, you're in the fight, you're tanky, you can W key, you frontline. I wouldn't really recommend frontlining too much. It's just wild. It's really, really wild. The passive, a lot of people don't know, it's a little burst of damage every time you auto something 3 times. The 2 is the craziest thing. They reduced the cooldown on this to 8 seconds. Gives 50% attack speed, so it's spammable. You just literally spam the 2. You 1-2 combo, your 2's back up. Or you throw your 2 out, then you 1-2 combo and you're ready. The 3 is the other big kicker. You get immunity to everything for 3 seconds. You dash into a wall, you can't get hit by a new ult, you can't get hit by anything. Nothing can hit you. It's insane. It's really, really valuable. This god's build is the same standard build as everyone else was building, or it's that build I showed you guys. So I'm not even gonna throw it up. Basically the on her builds, that's what you build on him. So straightforward. Chernobog still performing above everybody else. I realize that if you're in lower level games, team fighting can be difficult, but as long as you process the idea of let me split push, and then the second anything's going on, I'm gonna ult, you are a winner. And even in the laning phase, once you hit level 5, 6, 7, 8, you could clear a wave and then ult anywhere and fight real quick, and then back and run straight to lane, and you do not miss the wave. Just do it. Just literally play the god, ult anytime you think something's happening, and see how the game plays out. See how easy it is. It's crazy. Now, those are our top 5. Honorable mentions. I know there's, you know, there's Timmy in gold and Jimmy in bronze that are like, what about my god? Okay, look. Hou is an honorable mention. Hou is dope. Very, very strong. He's good again, in my opinion. He doesn't feel as good out of the ADC role unless you kill them over and over again. His kill potential is very high. His clear is trash. His clear is horrendous. So unless you have an aggressive support that could do an equal share of clearing or a large amount of the clearing, you cannot play this god and have a good laning phase. So I do not recommend it unless it's your thing. It's also mechanically the hardest, in my opinion. It's not crazy mechanics. I'm not gonna sit here and hype it up and be like, this is impossible. But mechanically in Smite, this is probably the most mechanical god in the game. You need to be able to land your combos without hitting an axe. Being able to 3-1 combo and hit an auto between without hitting an axe is key to playing this god. And then being consistent with your axe is also consistent. If you don't hit 70-80% of your axes, probably don't play this god, or just start practicing a lot. Like a lot. So Hou on the list. He's an ability god, by the way. You do not play him at all like you play the other gods. You have to go blue zone to have any clear. You want to get sustain online as soon as possible, so you're going transcendence. You are then going even more sustain in a lot of ways, and because of this build, you are not going Jotuns. Crits too valuable. We're going fail not. That's going to replace the Jotuns. This will give us full cooldown, give us a lot of pen. We're at 30% pen already, and this is just nuts for kills. At this point, you should be able to kill anybody. If you get a single crit in your combo, if you axe auto 1-3 auto or 3-1 auto, sorry, you 3 auto 1 auto, you will get a crit more than likely out of those 3, especially since your stance change is also proccing your ultimate. If you get 1 crit out of that at this build, it'll hit the other hunter for 500. The crit will. So that's potentially 5 or 1500 damage in autos, which is you know, if you're farming well enough, that will kill alone, and then on top of your abilities, you're going 100 to 0 all day. So this build is crazy. Then you could either go Deathbringer in this stage, or you can go Dominance. It's just the normal last 2 items. It's your order, your preference. Deathbringer will get you more kills. Dominance will help you kill tanks. It's that simple. This build is insane. I love it a lot. Like, I love this build. I run basically the same thing out of the jungle with a different jungle starter. Love it. Absolutely love it. Next up on our list for honorable mention is Rama. That's probably the main one. I expect people to be like, where's Rama on the list? Well, Rama's not safe enough. Now, the big thing with Rama that I love is the die potential. Rama with a warrior solo is crazy, because warrior, assassin, support, diving. If the mage has damage that he can throw into the backline and Rama can ult, you're going to kill 1 or 2 people while you're in there, right? Now with the mage, the fights are more drawn out, longer. They play back. You don't have as much safety. Rama has no CC, no self peel, no real value in terms of living outside of the ultimate. And if you're using the ultimate just to survive, that can turn into a bad thing because you get surrounded by the other team if they're diving. So that's the weird place Rama's at, and I think it's more so, it's not the builds. It is kind of the builds. If Silver Branch had become meta and was better than crit, I think Rama would be meta. But because crit is just so good, it doesn't boost Rama higher than other hunters. On top of the meta we're in, it makes it weird to play Rama. It's just that simple. Maybe when we go out of the mage meta, if that changes, I heard something like people are saying that Warrior's about to get some buffs. If that happens, you might see Rama spike in the next, 3 weeks. Who knows? Kind of hard to say without seeing the patch and what's going on, and kind of just trying to predict the meta. Artemis is a must mention for lower level players. Artemis has always been one of the highest win rate hunters at lower levels. She W keys. It's really easy to play because you have to full commit. So that's it. You would go a normal build, in my opinion, just a normal crit build. Be very aware of your mana sustain. You could go Xbalanque's build, but I'd probably just go a normal build and be very aware of your mana sustain. Maybe grab mana pot or 2, probably 2. And it's just because W King and fighting is you have to. You can't run away on this god. And that's the big thing that I think that's why she does well. And Izanami is my last honorable mentions. I like Izanami. She was played in the finals of the SPL tournament that just went on. I think it was the finals, or maybe it was the semifinals or whatever, or consolation game. It was played in the tournament in the later games. She's better at the lower ranked you are because she wins the lane. She guarantees nobody clears as well or as quickly as she does. And I think that just makes the game easier on somebody who's learning. So if you're plat or below, this could be your go-to. Or if it's not your normal role, if you're not comfortable on hunters, this could be something where you just clear the wave. And because you clear so fast, you don't really have to fight a lot, and you can just farm up and then play for the late game and look for big crits. Your choice, your preference. I gave you 9 gods to play, 5 of which I think are insane. I like playing ADC right now. You need to ward a lot. My recommended warding spot would be as deep into the jungle as you can, talking about like just north and south of the Gold Fury pillars. If you're warding in there, that vision is really valuable, or just to the side of them so you can see any pathing. You need to know the jungler's coming before he's right on top of you. If you're doing that, I think hunters are insanely fun. They hit so hard, it's ridiculous. Let me know how it's been going for you. Let me know if this helps you, and let me know what you want next in terms of guides or just information for the game. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and leave me a comment. Say what's up. Hopefully your holidays are good. I'll be around for the next video. Have a good day, boys and girls.